Hey, are you the owner of your company and you are still on call all the time? Some of the time? Every once in a while? I think to some level, you're going to have to always be on call for your company. But every call that comes through every night, every weekend doesn't need to be you. And I want to talk about that on this episode. So enjoy. Hey, welcome back to Disaster Podcaster. My name is Clark Brown, and I want to thank you for watching today. We're going to change things up because I do that all the time. My podcasts are not running off of scripts. I'm certainly not in hair and makeup. I'm wearing a hat from my friends. I want to shout out to Reitz. Little known fact that I have several books that I've written here. This is one of them. What a real true technician really is. I'll put the link down at the bottom, but I've written 7 books in this 8% Restpreneur series. And in most of the books, there's an Easter egg for Reitz in there. And it's really cool. I think a lot of Reitz, not only Jeremy, but Meredith, Hodge, everybody that's over there, Rebecca, Nick Sharp, and the whole team. They've always been very, very quality and very, very good to me. So I'm repping their hat today. Hope appreciate it. And Restoration AF sweatshirt. We still have hoodies and t-shirts that are Restoration AF. We've got the good old American flag on the side. And then lastly, I wanted to tell you that today I'm wearing my glasses because I'm old, but they're broken. So they might sit on my face crooked and I might turn and you might say, hey, there's something missing there. It's kind of like a Willy Wonka thing. Today on Disaster Podcaster, I had written down the word systems. We talk a lot about systems. That is a boring topic. That is a misunderstood topic. And many people, especially the closer you are to being new in this industry, don't really comprehend systems yet. You're in that early phase where you're just trying to just get shit done, right? You're just trying to get to all the calls. You're going to try to get calls and then get to the ones you want, find some help, get them done, keep the customer happy, get it documented, get it paid, so that the insurance will hopefully pay you the thing in full or as close to as most of it as possible. But I want, no matter where you are in your restoration business journey or any business you're in, you're going to need systems. And all they mean are more efficient ways to do things, to optimize tasks, to optimize people where they can get more done. You can compress time is another way to say it. And as I was kind of like jotting down some ideas on, I could talk about this for hours, but I promise I won't. I saw a post on one of the social media groups last week, and it was, hey, I'm pretty new to the industry. Didn't say how long, probably a year or so. How long was it before you, and they were self-deprecating, said, I'm brand new to this. I know nothing. How long until most of you experts out there were able to stop being on call and get some kind of rotation? It was actually a big thread. Lots of comments, mostly positive, but it was really interesting to watch some of the different responses. I didn't write them all down, but they're all up here in my head. There were a lot that said 30 years in this business and I'm still on call. Sounds awful. There were several to 10 years, some that said you always will be. And then a lot were kind of where I fell into it. I said, it's realistic to think for the first year, maybe 2, that you're probably going to be in that on-call rotation. And that's only because you're getting all calls. You're probably paying for them. There's probably a CAC, a CAC, cost of acquisition cost. you're not yet optimized where you're getting organic leads where you can actually afford to might not get every call, because every call matters when you're small and you're just new. So you're paying leads through plumbers, lead gen services, some type of thing. You probably don't have the team yet that's experienced enough. Most new companies try to do one of two things. They hire someone with experience from another company, but it ends up not matching theirs. Experience is not equitable from company to company because the core values are different. The business models are different. You're going to take a company that is primarily independent, and sometimes people will come aboard that come from a program and carrier-centric business model. Or vice versa. You might be someone who's on TPAs and programs and other type of environments, and someone comes aboard that's never worked in those. And those both are going to be very polarizing positions. So you're still trying to put together what that looks like for you. Who's the right people. So sometimes you hire. I'm a big fan of hiring no experience. I hire for character, for good behavior, good ethics, integrity, all your typical core values. I'd like to hire with that, and then train the way we would like to run the business, because unfortunately, love all of you, but much of this industry runs like garbage, maybe not intentional. So how long does it take? I would say a goal would be 1 to 2 years, and you need systems around that. And what are those systems? You need to document where jobs are coming from and what happens. I have one of those. I have a mitigation on the mitigation side. I have a process map of from first phone call. I told you my glasses were sitting crazy. From first phone call all the way to getting the statement of work complete signed and then setting the invoice and getting paid. I have that. This inside of our RBA. I would invite you to check out our Restoration Business Academy. That is the way that Restoration Advisors has decided it's the best way for us to help as many people as possible. When you get into coaching and consulting one at a time, you can't scale that way. We have been able to put together years of our education and content, and then community-driven vehicle. So people come in together and learn it as they go, and they're getting to work with other people. So check that out. It's incredible. It's great. RBA. I'll put the link down at the bottom. But inside of RBA, something I recently had is one of the companies that I helped build the restoration division on was supremely customer centric. And one system they had was all the touch points. Every single interaction with customer was done generally the same way, outside of the little variables that apply to just that project. You have to make those before the people. You have to have good people first, but then the people have to know what to do consistently. But when it comes down to being on call, the system would be a good recruiting process. Some of the comments that I was seeing was, I can't trust anybody else to be on call. I was seeing a lot of comments about in today's staff and people, excuse the noise here, I'm moving my microphone. The people we hire don't want to work nights and weekends. Well, news alert, unpopular opinion, we work in a 24/7 industry. If that's, you are in fact, if you're in mold only company or abatement, probably not. But if you're firewater, trauma, you're probably going to be in the business where your website and your whole premise is I'm 24/7 emergency. You need to hire people that know that and are willing to do it. And as a matter of fact, they might even be excited to. When do people need us the most? Usually at emergencies. Otherwise, it's just like, hey, I've got some mold, I've got a little bit of water damage. I don't know if it's a big deal, but when people really need us, I think we step up the most in those times where they need us the most. We know how to do things that can make a situation get better, salvage things, dry things, save some flooring, save some contents, make it safer, all of these things for engineering controls and containment. So I would say if you're 24/7, you need to hire people that know that and are up for the challenge, not 24/7 to be on call, but to have a rotation. Now, when you're very small, that might be yourself, the owner, and one other person. And guess what? You're going to have to come up with something that you both do that. But here's what I'm going to tell you. As the owner, you're going to get burnt out. Why? You probably are fine going out to these calls. You know what to do. But at some point, your business will need more of you. It will need you to be at home. Your family will need more of you. Your spouse. Take it from me as someone who's traveled in this industry for a career for forever. Don't look back and say, I wish I would have been on call less, been on vacation more. If I go on vacation or I'm at dinner with my family or reading the kids at bed or putting Legos together with the kids or watching our favorite show on TV, I'm not on my phone, not scrolling and not texting customers and not texting my team. Teach people how to do what they need. It's a system. And these are systems that we teach and a lot of businesses teach, and you can learn on your own. If you're a great learner, hell, with AI, it's gotten really crazy what you can learn with AI. But I will tell you there's a difference between information and education. And then there's another difference between experience. If you might be the kind of person that can accumulate and gather all the knowledge, be the person that can actually put things into action. That's not easy for some people. And the more you are tied to every task for your business, the less you can delegate, the less you have people to delegate to, you're going to have a harder time. That scalability is going to be slower. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be frustrating to watch people less talented than you in your market growing faster, growing bigger. Why do you think they're doing that? Everyone here has someone in their market that doesn't do a very good job. And what I mean by that is you get called behind them to dry homes the right way, to clean up a fire, to clean up a mess. But they get lots of calls because they're marketing better. They have built technicians. Now, it's arguable their technicians aren't very good, but if they're showing up at night and the weekends, they're down for it. So the question is how long? And there is no right answer, but I would say as limited time as possible. Okay, well, how does a small company afford? When do I bring aboard my first technicians, lead tech, project manager, whatever title those are? Who does the estimating? Those are all great questions, but they all come from the same thing. Someone's going to have to, the very tip of the spear for a business, what I think most people get wrong in any business, especially trades, is putting all of your effort into certifications and experience and technical know-how before you work on the accumulation of leads, until you get some marketing, until you build some type of brand where you have consistency in the work that comes in. You know what happens when you don't focus on that first? You end up getting a lot of people that have trained for the day to do the job, but you just don't know when the next job is going to be, or you're left with the vultures that charge you way too much for that. Plumbers, lead gen companies. It's appalling what I'm seeing people paying for that. It's not necessary. These are all things. All of these little moving parts, they're parts of a jigsaw puzzle. And they all have to be built, sometimes in order, sometimes they're built out of order, but they need attention. How do you get leads, consistent leads from as many places, diversified across many different ways? Well, it means that you, the owner, or your business development team, they need time to focus on that, because it doesn't happen overnight, and there are more than enough people, the competition, that are doing it. So you have to go and just consistently show up, be there for people, serve your clients, serve your referral partners, figure out what they need first. I've got another book called The Warm Lead. Has nothing to do with playing a plumber. Find out what the plumbing company needs most that you can offer. Are they short on staff? Have a joint hiring process. Have a joint job fair. Get them some leads. You do a shout out saying, hey, great partner of ours is a plumber, great place to work. They're looking for some people that want to apply to do that kind of work and make a bunch of money. Then they start getting leads. And you know who they're going to remember doing that? You. So you got to get leads first. You cannot become a triple master before you have all the work coming in. So that's the one thing. Maybe you're doing that well, maybe you're not. And then of course you're going to be stressed out. Like, how do I get all this work done? Then it comes to the delivery process. Then it comes to the functionality of how do we process all these jobs? How do we get through all of them? How do I hire enough people for those jobs? And is it busy and is slow? It's not consistent. These are all challenges that every restoration company has had. And these are all just systems. And this, I can't teach you on this podcast the answers for all of them, but I will tell you the answers are there. I will tell you where you can probably get some of these systems and learn. I've already mentioned RBA. I'd also like to invite you to something very, very, very special, and that's our Montana business retreat. We're going to be in Whitefish, Montana again this year. Every year, this is our 4th year doing that. 4th year in Whitefish, Montana, which is up in the northwest corner by Glacier, June 23rd and 24th. 2 days, not your typical conference. This is not an industry trade show. This is not full of booths. There are no vendors. There's no sponsors. There's no big speeches and keynotes and presentations on the whiteboards. And this is a different kind of event. This is where the people that apply to go, and yes, we don't just take everybody. Everybody doesn't show up. We want the right people. We want people who have gotten through some things, but also are trying to get to some places. They're willing to give and to receive. We take a poll, what's everyone struggling with, a couple of different questions. And then come time with the retreat, we now have a little bit of where everybody's headspace is, and they show up to stand up. If it's, physically, comfy couches, whatever, comfortable chairs. Again, not your typical conference. And everyone gets to know each other. We have a lot of meals, but like, you stand up and say, these are the things that I think we do really, really well, but these are the things we struggle with. And then the room takes what they can use, asks for more details, has a separate meeting with them later, but then also contributes into the things with ideas based on their market where they are. So it's a really great event. It's probably the best thing that we do every year. The people that go always try to go back. I do understand it's a summer. People have summer vacation, kids out of school. We've got some people that wanted to come this year. They got weddings. But this is where you'll come and talk to people that used to be on call all the time, and they might still be on call. And I think to some level, as the owner, as a leadership team, as a general manager, you're probably going to be in the rotation. But it needs to be equitable. There needs to be other people that work there. I was talking earlier about the kind of people. I always use the metaphor or the comparison of maybe a firefighter. Firefighters work on a strict schedule. They come aboard as firefighters knowing that they're 24, 48 on, 48 off, and those kind of different schedules for different departments. But the calls, there is no 9 to 5. It's 24/7 while they're there. Calls come when they're needed. You sign up because you want to help people as a firefighter. You want to help save lives and save structures and assist other departments to do things. That's what they signed up for. So there's not like, oh, we got a call. No, they're like, we got a call. Let's go. You need to hire people in your company that way. I know they're rare. I do. But they're out there and they're saying, God, I love this business. I love to be there. As long as it's fair, they're making a good living wage and they're not 24/7 on call all the time. A lot of times these companies, you'll have people, 1 or 2 people are always on call, and then other people's are never on call, or they never answer their phone and someone else has to step up. That will kill your culture and that will keep you very small. But you've got to have people say, I come aboard your company. I align with your vision and your mission and your core values because I want to help people when they need us the most. And sometimes that is at night. Now, what is your process at night? Now, if someone's on call every other week or every third week, I would say you don't go and work all night. There are mitigation steps. There are processes. There's an environmental assessment phase. You need to stabilize. It doesn't have to be an all night. Get it stabilized and then let the homeowner, business owner, get back to sleep and go back and let's address it in the morning you've extracted, you've got the emergency services done, maybe to some degree, but you come to a point where you need to stop. That's what nights and weekends could be. Now, bigger jobs, bigger things, but you might just have to look. If you're getting so many after hours calls, you might have that after hour crew. You might have people who work during the day and they want to work at night, but it shouldn't be the owner. Ideally, after 1 year, 2 years, you are still available for calls and texts, but you should have trained what they need to do, how they approach every single job. For the first couple of jobs, the first 10, 15, who knows? They're going to need to make sure. But if someone is asking you how to do the same thing they've already been taught how to do, you haven't let go of control and you told them they need to call you. And that's not a good system. That's a broken system. So that is a system. System isn't always a software. It's not always an SOP. It's a mindset of what we agree on is what someone's empowered to do, what they're accountable to do, what good and right and perfect looks like. Not perfect. What good and great looks like, but not perfect. This is success. This would be not success. This is going out to be on call to a job and you get there and you don't have any of your equipment. That's not success. That's a failure. Let's not do that. Let's train how that never happens. What do we do when we get the call? These are where systems come back in again. So I hope this is making sense. But then beyond that, systems go into beyond just the thing you do. What you do is not your company. You have a company. You as the owner will get away from the part where you spend your time on the task and you spend more of your time on the systems and the people. You now are growing your business and you've got to train, you've got to retrain, you've got to coach people, you've got to do evaluations, you've got to help people get raises and progress through problems. And then you become the leader of the company that sits down in leadership meetings. So another system is a business operating system. We have ROS, Restoration Operating System. It's how you operate. It's who you are, what you stand for, who your ideal clients are, who your unideal clients are, who your anti-ideal clients are, how we're going to grow, what our goals are for the year from revenue and profit margin and cash flow, everything. You set markers for your ideal business, and then you assign people to that to that marker, to that scorecard, to that milestone or deliverable or KPI or whatever you want to call it. And those people become accountable for it. So then everyone is working towards something, and you are helping all of them work towards it or help them clear the road when they have an obstacle to keep them going. Because most people want to grow. The right people. They want to progress. They want to make more money. They want more responsibility. They want more status. They want to grow their career and their education, their certifications, and all these things. That happens when you have systems in place and the owner gets to start working on the business. You've heard all of the difference between working in it and on it. When you're going out to calls and when you're doing all the Xactimate estimates and when you're dealing with all the adjuster phone calls and customer phone calls, you're working in it, brother. You are, and sister, you're an employee. We don't want that. But I want to be optimistic and let you know that everyone starts here. This is the default path that they don't teach you this in ICRC. They don't teach you this in college, how to run a business. This is a very dynamic industry. It's ever changing and the rules change, the players change. But developing a system to where your team is working on the business with you, they're accountable, they have tasks that they're working towards. You are not the nucleus brain. It's not all about you. You're delegating ideas to people. People say, I don't know the answer to this problem. Come to me with your solutions and let's talk about it together. I probably will agree with them. If you have Jessica or JT, let Jessica or JT tell you how they would like to solve this problem and then grant them permission to go do it. Even if you get 80% results. Jocko talks about 80% is fine from Jared. 80%, just a little bit of nudge here, a little bit of there, you'll be back up to 90. 90% is good for most of the time. Now, probably is not 100%. So these are systems, but back to the primary, I saw a lot of conversations and I wish that new people weren't told that they're going to have to be on call, that they can't trust, because what they're hearing from someone is someone else's limiting beliefs. You can't trust anyone to go do the right job. You can't trust them to say the right things. You can't trust them to not mess up or miss something. None of that's true. Think about who you were before you became a business owner. You are a responsible person. You probably wish that your boss or the manager or leadership team would get off your back and let you do more because you're perfectly capable, right? Your team is saying the right thing if they're the right ones. Now, if you don't have the right people, that's the first system, is the filter of how people get asked to leave. Firing does not have to be ugly. You can easily say, I don't think you're giving your best work here because I don't think this fires you up. But something probably does. How can I help you find a career that absolutely gives you joy, that you go home and talk to your family about, and your loved ones and your friends, and say, I got the best job in the world. I can't believe it. How do you get there? How do you help people get there? These are all systems. These are all systems of how often you meet, what you do in the meetings, what you do after the meetings, how you hold people accountable for what they say, what you do when they don't. I've got a restorer that reached out and says he has 5 locations and all of them run completely different and nobody will do what they're supposed to do. Well, here's the problem. At 5 locations, this problem is probably bigger. It's probably not the people. It's probably the leadership and the expectations. And it probably existed when they had 2 locations. The question is, if you have 5 locations, just, not many people listening will, some will, probably agree that the first location runs the best because you or someone, the leadership team, was solid there. But as you separate that out, that leader is still staying too often at the first location or not getting stuff out of their brain on how things go and coaching people up. I believe that other locations often have great managers. If they don't, that's a hiring issue. But if they're good people, then it's just a training and accountability and expectation leadership issue. So these are all systems. I love when restoration business owners finally admit that what got me here won't get me there. Running a 600,000 to a $2 million business is one thing. After that, it's a different thing. It's different muscles, it's different people, it's different positions, definitely different systems. The things that you used before, you're still trying to use them, but it's kind of not working. I see it every day. And I love when people open up their mind saying, let's explore what that looks like. I can only speak for me, but where we are right now, that's what we love to do. I love when people look back and say, gosh, look how far I've come in 6 months or a year. Look at how tough this used to be. Now it's not. Now it's so easy that we're scaling. We're starting to do reconstruction now. It's working better. Or we're starting contents, and that's another $600,000 in revenue annually, whatever that might look like. Some people say I'm going commercial. Traveling a little bit, opening up a second office, who knows? It only happens when that first one becomes a systemized program. And that starts with the owner saying, what position am I in? What hats do I wear? And how quick can I get some of those hats off of my head into other people's heads? People that probably want them. I don't like the accounting side. I don't like the finances and the accounting. It would be foolish for me to spend an overabundance of my time doing something that I don't love to do, and I'm certainly not good at it. There are people who are experts at finances and accounting, and they get on job boards, or not job boards, they get on social media forums for people like them, like we do. And this is what they talk about. They geek out over the numbers and the spreadsheets and the charts and all of the features and the QuickBooks features. That's just how it works. There's someone out there for everything. What's yours and what's the best use of your time? Hope I brought this all in. What is a system for a restoration company? There are a lot of people who think that we can't have systems and they never build them. I do know people that have been in business 25 years that run chaotically. I don't know how, because that's old. That gets old and it's hard. But it happens. and some people are happy with it. I think for a restoration company, getting to 4 to 6 million a year, highly profitable, meaning somewhere in net profit, somewhere around 30% that you keep, consistent workflow, systems in place, vacations are allowed for all, including the owner. And when you go on a vacation with your family and friends, you don't, there's no phone calls. There's no constant bugging, or the kind of business where you grow it to where you can go to something like the Montana Business Retreat and get around experts that are good at other things than you, and people that you become friends with and text groups with, and Slack and WhatsApp or whatever, and say, this is my partners now. They're 8 states away, 12 states away, 6 time zones away. I think that's what the joy of business operation is not being a worker in your business, it's being an owner. Challenging yourself to say, how can I work 15 hours a week in my business? How little can I do to make the most where everyone needs it? And then when you get to a big enough spot, you start to slowly find a general manager or COO, someone who just makes sure that all the systems stay running. Something's always trying to break your systems. You need someone later to do that. But if it's you never quite get to chase the dream that you had. You're always having this thing that you're telling me. I have a lot of people tell me, I want to do that next year. Next year, they say, I didn't get to it last year, but I'm going to do it this year. You're probably not. You might. I understand people come and go. There's a lot of reasons for that too. Evaluate it, know why people are leaving, know why people stay, and do more of what's making people stay and less of what's making people leave. Sometimes people are leaving because there are no systems. Some people don't like to work in chaotic circumstances. That's just about it. This is probably one of the shorter podcasts that I've done. I just want to let everyone know that we think that doing this with other people, experts like yourself that have different worldviews, stronger at some things and less at others. I believe that is the future in this AI digital world. People are wanting more connection. So we're going to be doubling down on community a little bit. You're going to see us doing a lot more lives, but it's not just for me or Toby to vomit information to everyone. We're going to set up the environment that allows people to get together to have that time. Just, again, breakout sessions, go rent a boat. We might go someplace in the fall that you can get on a boat, or late summer, or fishing trips, hunting trips, who knows, beach time, dirt bike riding, skydiving, who knows, something that you can remember that you did, but to get the most out of it. But honestly, to get your head clear of the business, not on call. We have, every time that we have a live event, we send out a comms report, a comms SOP on you prepping your team on how to communicate with you while you go and do what's best for the company. I'll check my emails and phone calls only once a day at this time. If you need someone, here's who's second in charge, who's in charge in my place, what that looks like. And I hope that that's a place you're at right now. We get to believe that we have to do everything in the business, and we don't. So that's it for Disaster Podcaster. I hope you had a good session. I hope you picked something up. I beg and deplore you to reach out to us through the comments or email me at clark@hay.com. If you have anything about this topic you want to learn more about, you want to argue with me, if you want to add something to it, we can certainly take this over. Reach out to me, reach out to us, check out RBA. Just let me know. Take care.